Happy Back Talk Thursday. All right, y'all already know. I got to pin the comment section. Not pin the comment section, but pin the episode. Oh, you early, Yolanda? Come on, Yolanda. Come on in. I'm in such a good mood today, y'all. Usually I'll come on and I'm just like, okay, I hate when it does this thing where it takes a long time to accept. Also, is my sound good? I don't even know if I was about to say, why is she not connecting?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Miss Mims herself. What's going
Okay.
on?
How are you?
Girl, life is lifing right now.
Fair. Same.
Life is lifing.
Yeah.
So, fun fact for those tuning in and for those who will be tuning in when this airs, and I'll put this on YouTube. Yolanda and I go way back. I've known you since, when did I come to FDA? Junior year of high school. That's when I came to FDA.
Ooh,
And one of my favorite girlies, still my favorite girlies. And before we talk about anything, I am like crazy proud of you. Like super fucking proud of you. Like, no, seriously. You've been doing so. I'm looking down because I have like these questions I'm going to ask. But I'm just like, before we start anything, like when I watch you on social media, when I watch you, even your close friends, how you maneuver your growth is so evident from where you started to now. Your confidence in your artistry, like,
yeah.
Like you know you're that girl. Like I think you knew you was that girl, but you questioned yourself. But your energy is so different now, and I think it has to do with you being, I guess, maneuvering and doing your own projects.
Yeah.
I feel like it comes.
Yeah, I think so.
But before we start,
yes, thank you
of
though.
course, let the girlies know who you are, what do you do, why you are that girl. Because you are.
Well, I am Yolanda, also known as Ghetto Yoli, and I am a photographer based in Brooklyn, New York. I don't know how to describe why I'm that girl. I mean, it's just in me.
You're just born with it. You wake up one day and it's like, you know what?
Maybe you're born with it.
I wonder if my sound is. My sound okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. So I'm honestly, it makes sense now you doing photography, but I would have never thought that back in the day. Like I would have never thought that. So how did you get into this space?
So began being interested in photography like a few years ago. So like a little bit of my background is I began in theater. I fell in love with theater
Remember that?
in grade school. Yeah, like I fell in love with theater in grade school. I think it was my sixth grade teacher, Miss Barnes, took my class to see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang on Broadway. And in the crowd, there's nothing in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang that makes you want to cry, but I'm in the crowd, like tears in my eyes, just crying. There was like a car propelling through the audience, and I was like so amazed at what I was seeing, and I was just like, I want to make people feel like this with art. And so that's when I like caught the theater bug. And so, but there was no access to like theater programs and shit in my neighborhood or whatever. So I had to, it wasn't until I got to college that I really got to experience theater. And I worked in theater for a few years as a set designer, costume designer, and stage manager. And I did a little bit of directing. And then I transitioned from theater to film because I was like, okay, I've done all that I have the desire to do in theater. Then I'm going to move to something else. And then I started moving into film, and I was creative producing and production designing. And then about maybe like 4 or 5 years into working in the film industry as a producer and production designer, I started to find interest in photography. Like I enjoyed film, and the projects that I worked on, like they were great projects, but it didn't feel like my thing. It didn't feel like something that I can like call my own. And I was always interested in images. And it wasn't really until I was like home one day and I was thinking about my mom who had passed a few years ago. And I was like looking back at, I think it was like either around her birthday or something like that. And I was looking back at photos of us, and I like realized I only have like a handful of photos of her because like we didn't like think about documenting our life. Like I don't have photo albums with mad pictures of
I don't
like me back in the
either.
day. I don't have none of that. Like, and then
I
even
just
like
found baby pictures of me when my grandmother passed. We found her
yeah.
photo album. I'm like, I actually have baby pictures.
I only have like 3 baby pictures, and I don't even have a picture of me from as an infant. I only have a picture of me when I was like 2 years old, one picture of me when I was like 4, and then one picture of me when I was like 10. And then I don't really have like pictures of like even me and my mom together. And so I started to think like I'm sure that there are other like Black people out here who like are not like kind of documenting their legacies. And so like that's where the passion for photography kind of came from, because I was just like, I want to document and seal Black people's experiences in this world, like through photography. And so I, like, for the first year of photography, I was shooting everything on my phone. I was taking iPhone pictures. People were paying me $100 to take their portraits on my iPhone. Like, it was a
Did they
thing.
know you were
And then,
doing it from your
yeah,
iPhone, or they were just thinking?
so I started with my best friend Jazz, and like people were asking her like, who took those pictures, who took these pictures, and she's like, yeah, my best friend did it on her phone. And like people were like hitting me up and was like, hey, can you take my pictures? And I was like, I don't have a camera. They're like, I know. And I was just like, okay. So I was
Girl, we don't
iPhone
care.
photo shoots. Exactly, I was doing iPhone photo shoots for like $100. And then like I finally like saved up my money, and my first camera that I bought was a Fujifilm X-T3, and I bought that camera 3 years ago. So I've been a photographer for 3 years, and it wasn't until I transitioned into photography that like all these things kind of started to fall into place for me, which like reaffirmed like this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing.
As a Black woman photographer, what are some of the obstacles you think someone watching this who's trying to get into photography that they're going to face? That some things that you wish you knew going into this?
I think like for me, understanding that like everything is a business. And I think like what was my saving grace was that I already came from the industry, so to speak, like the entertainment arts. Like I already came from that industry. So I kind of already had like a frame of reference of like, one, like I need to be moving as a business. The disconnect was that I didn't know what avenues I should be going. Like, because I think the first thing that what a person needs to do is define what kind of photographer they want to be, because like there are many forms of photography and many different lanes to kind of play in.
Break them down.
Yeah, like I'm in the like portraiture, fashion photography, photojournalism, like that. All three of those things, like I use a mixture of all of those three things in my work, and like that's like the lane that I'm in. But like some people are like event photographers or entertainment photographers, like they just like shoot celebrities on the street, or like some people are food photographers, like some people are only editorial, like I'm only doing magazines and print and like all of that shit. So I think that defining what lane you want to operate in first is like helpful. Then you can kind of try to like seek out opportunities that are in alignment with like the direction and the path you want to go on. And I'm like still learning that. Like I know for me, I'm a person who feels like I benefit from the institution of like school and formal training. Even though I'm a self-taught photographer, I was applying for like fellowships because I feel like I could benefit from the institutional, like formal training of like the structure of a fellowship. And so I think also like networking. I remember when I first started, like I love to say that I know as creators, we need money and finances to do the things that we need to do. But I also am a firm believer that people are resources as well. And there are like so many talented like people who are out here who are willing to like work and collab and just like, you know, create something with you off the strength that they think what you're doing is cool. And I think that I got a lot further once I like kind of networked across and tried to find like community.
I feel like when it comes to like this type of creative industry, when like for photography, painting, even writing, not writing scripts or like writing books, I feel like it's such a tougher sort of path to take, because you have to really, in my opinion, really be passionate about what you're doing to pursue. So what are those conversations with yourself like when you're like unmotivated, or you feel like you're doubting yourself, and it's like, you know, like you're not getting any book for anything, or you're not getting your grants, you're not getting your fellowships? Like, what are those conversations like?
I mean, it's really funny because it hasn't. Last year was the shift for me, so I'm not even going to sit up here and cap and act like, oh, I've always been optimistic and I've always, because that's a lie. I went through, especially like transitioning into something like completely new, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, although I came from like an entertainment like kind of background, photography is a whole new industry for me, and I'm also learning a new skill as I'm moving in this industry. And so, like, I remember, like, my second year of doing this, I just felt like, did I make the wrong decision? I am an idiot. Why did I just, like, completely switch career paths? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Nothing's happening for me. And, like, it's really, like, having like, Jazz, my best friend, like, she had to, because we have these conversations with each other. It's like, this is not going to happen overnight, especially because the thing that you want is not an easy thing. Like, you want to be a notable photographer in this industry. You want to shift culture. You want to start conversations. You want to be like in certain environments and rooms. Like, that's not going to happen overnight. Like, that's something that you have to build. So you have to be comfortable with the ugly side and the unglamorous side of being a creative. Like, now I'm in a space where, because I had to pull myself out of it. Like, no one was going to pull me out of that space. I was sitting here dry hating on people, like people who were like excelling past me. I was sitting here secretly hating, like, why am I not, I think I'm good enough, da, da, da. And then I had to remind
I have
myself,
those moments too.
yeah,
I don't think it's self-hating. I'll see people who are doing things and it's either I know I can do it better, or it's like I can do that, and it's like, well, why are they getting opportunities and I'm not?
And I think, like, for me, I've relinquish control. That's the first thing I can say. I think, like, we as creators, we want to have our hand on everything. We want to know for sure. We want guarantees. We want like results. And I had to literally, like, one day I was in my room and I was just like, God, God, you got it. Like, you got it. You listen, I don't know shit. You have it. You got it. I will relinquish control. I can only control what I can control. And what I can control is the amount of effort I put into the things that I do, the amount of time I take to carefully do the things that I do, the attention, the energy, the training, the learning. Like, I can control all of those things. I cannot control when it happens for me. I can't control if someone says no. All I can control is the effort that I put forth. And I do believe that the more you put the effort, the energy that you exert is not going just anywhere, right? It's going towards the things that you want. And if you keep putting that energy behind it and you keep kind of moving the ball forward on your end, it's only a matter of time for it to happen for you.
So you speaking to me right now, because as much as I try to control how fast I want to be successful. I do. I really sit here and because I'm delusional. I really sit here and think that I can manipulate and make stuff happen to me because I'm worthy of it, and I'd be like, when people are like, Gian, it's happening. Yeah, it is going to happen. I'm going to make it happen next month. I don't care. I'm going to force it. And I'm learning now that when I do things like that, like even now, if I get an opportunity for hosting something, I doubt myself. I'm like, oh my God, this is what you wanted, but can you do it? So now I'm scared. But then also, it's sometimes every opportunity is not a good opportunity. Yeah. Some things like really, and it's crazy because you actually spoke about this on a podcast, and I want you to speak about this here. But you mentioned how you have to turn down jobs because of your mental health, because not all money is good money. I've had people reach out to me to be on their podcast as a guest, or can you host an event? And when I do, before I say yes, I do my research, because my thing is my integrity matters. I cannot affiliate my name with something that has nothing to do with my brand, and I don't really fuck with what you're doing. And if I go on your page and I see your podcast does nothing but talk bad about women, you don't need me on there. I'm not going to contribute to that. If you want me to host something and you're ripping off artists or you're ripping people off, and I'm like, people are paying how much to get this? Oh, no, baby. I don't want to be affiliated with this. So what are some boundaries or maybe some red flags that you look at when it comes to people trying to book you for work?
I don't know if this is because my family is like Southern, but like how someone approaches me already sets the tone of like if I'm going to interact with you. And I think people are so like quick to demand. If someone approaches me and they're like trying to either like force the interaction or like demand my attention in some way, that's usually a red flag for me, because I was just like, okay, so you don't you don't understand, like, this is like a professional courtesy. You don't understand how to approach somebody. You're already operating from a place of like, I need, I want to take, and that I completely like how that initial conversation goes will dictate whether or not I will continue on in the conversation.
Right.
Also, like, I like, as far as like, and this is like for individuals, like when it comes to like companies and stuff like that, I think, again, how the upfront conversations go, what their patterns of communication are in regards to like if I have questions and stuff like that about what I'm doing. Because like I like to say, like, my work style, I don't like to work in chaos. I like to be organized. I like to know what's going on, and if I can see from on the front end that this is going to be disorganized and chaotic and messy, I usually am like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Because your name was a part of it, and it's like, I don't want my name a part of something that stressing me out.
Yeah, and then it's like, why, like, I also like to think about it, although this is like my career and this is my profession, like, I'm taking pictures, essentially. Like, this should not, like, there's a certain level of stress that just naturally comes when you're putting yourself out there and you're like doing something that you're passionate about, but like, this shouldn't be like to my detriment. Like, I shouldn't be coming from gigs crying or like pissed or something like that. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And so I'm just like, if I'm in environments where it's bringing that out of me, then I shouldn't be in that environment.
Have you had bad experiences like that?
Yeah. I mean, I had like some wild experiences, and I haven't even been doing this like super long. And I remember one time I had somebody like hire me for a shoot, and then I came to the set, and they like dumped a bag of like Dwayne Reed makeup on a table and was like, "Can you do the makeup?" And I was like,
Oh, I'm a makeup artist now. Okay.
I'm a makeup artist. And they were
I
like,
was
yeah, and we want to.
Let me see this on my resume. I didn't know I was a makeup artist. Where you get that from?
This is why I'm like, I also try to make it very clear to people that, like, because people think that like, oh, you're a photographer, so you like go and take pictures of anything, and it's just like, no, I'm a specific kind of photographer, and it doesn't mean like, of course I can take photos of your child, right? But that's not what I do, and that's not what I desire to do. And so like when people hit me up for like birthdays and like all of this stuff, I'm like, I don't do those kinds of photos, and I don't have a desire to do those kinds of photos. And there are people out here who do those kinds of photos, and that's their passion. But that was,
You look like someone sent me your page. It was like, oh, do you know her? I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. They was like, oh, I have an event. Can they take pictures? I was like, she don't do events. Because I'm like, if you on her page, you don't see her showing when she shows her work.
No.
Why would you even ask me that?
And the thing is, like, I've shot like before, but like I've shot like mixers, right? Like, it's 2 hours of my time. It's a mixer. They don't need no edits. They just need the photos color graded and sent back. I've done that here and there on the side, but I'm not like, no, I don't say yes to things like that because I'm like, that's just not what I want to do. And I think the more you say yes to things that are not in alignment with your goal and where you're going, the more it'll pull you away from the actual thing that you want to do.
Mm-hmm. So let's pivot into Ghetto University.
Okay.
As a sophomore. Where did that concept come from? I think it's a dope idea. The idea of using your platform, using your talent to just highlight Black people in your network and not gatekeep, and all the beautiful things that we talk about we want, and you're actually doing it. Like, let's talk about that.
Okay, so it's so funny because Ghetto University came out of 3 places in my mind. So the first place is, one day I was literally at home. I was feeling like trash. I felt like my work was trash. That was back at the time where nobody was saying yes to photo shoots with me. Like, the people I wanted to shoot was curving my shit. And so I was like, I'm trash. What am I doing this for? And I was just like, you know what? Every time I feel like insecure about the work that I do, I revert back to self. And so I was just like, you know what? I got this new wig. I got this fly jacket that I just got. I'm gonna take some self-portraits. And I already had the backdrop for some reason. I just had it. And then I took the self-portraits. When I looked at the portraits, I was just like, huh. And then the name came to me immediately. I was like, Ghetto University. And it started as like this is just like a fun self-portrait that I did. But then I started to think about like the conversations that I have with like my homies about like the creative industry, about culture, especially like in New York and stuff like that. And like, I'm a firm believer of like, there's room on the table for everybody. I don't believe in like a crabs in a barrel mentality. Like, I feel like there's enough out there for like everybody to have, and like what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, what's hers is hers, what's theirs is theirs. Like, I really do believe that. And so I'm very anti-gatekeeping. I'm very much like network across. I'm very much people are resources as well. And so I was just like, I'm going to create something where, and I was like, I know a bunch of fire ass like creatives. And I was like, why not create something where, because people always say I can't find people. I like when I talk to like younger photographers or people who just are starting out or something like that, they're like, I don't know what how do you get models to say yes? How do you get stylists? How do you do this? And I'm just like, yo, I made my connections by like asking people, and like people who worked with me before referred me to somebody else. Like, one of my favorite stylists, like the only reason we became like cool is because somebody that I shot for Ghetto University year 1, I wanted to shoot her. I hit her up. And she asked the person that we both know, like, what you know about her? And they were like, she's cool as fuck. Yeah, shoot with her. We shot together. We fell in love. And now we're here. And it's just like, that's
also a testament to not just your talents, but you as a person. Because say the shoot was bad because you're an asshole, you're a bitch. They'd be like, girl, don't shoot with her.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
Give yourself a pat on the back, too, because you have a beautiful spirit as well.
Thank you. I do believe your reputation will speak before you can even say a word. So I try to be good to people at all times. I try to like be kind. I try not to like, I mean, it's not hard not to be not rude.
It's not. Very easy. And people act like it's a process.
It's very easy.
Like me, I'm blunt. I think younger me, I'm an asshole. Yes, I'm sarcastic, but I mean well. Like I don't go on my way to be an asshole to people, but sometimes I like to make people think. If you ask me a stupid question, I'll be like, now you're gonna ask me that with this information sitting right here, because it's like,
right.
I feel like because I'm such a helpful person, people don't think I get tired, or people don't think like they don't try to help me help them. It's just like, I'm gonna just go to Gian. She knows everything, or she can do this, she can find this out. And I'm getting to a point where I'm just like, nah, I can't do that. I'm helping myself as well. Like I don't mind giving people information, but you have to look out there too. Like, yeah, it's so much information out there, and I'm sure you know when you're researching for stuff for like, how can I support my career? If I'm doing this, you guys can do it too. I don't mind giving you the information, but you cannot constantly use me and drain me of information. And I'm doing the same thing you could be doing, just Googling.
Yeah, I definitely like the saying, like, I will not do your work for you. I think that that's fair, because like, also the real conversation that like people don't necessarily, especially like, you know, creatives on the rise and stuff like that, the conversation that they don't want to have is that this is a lot of fucking work. Like, it's a lot of freaking work. And I'm not saying sleepless nights now. I get sleep. I get good sleep. It's not sleepless, baby.
But that's a good point you made. People really don't think you're hustling because you're getting your sleep or you have time. Just because I have time doesn't mean I'm available.
Like I just like, I've been practicing like time management, and also like it's work, it's research, it's sharpening your skills, it's trying different avenues, it's strategizing, it's brainstorming, it's reaching out to your network, it's applying for things. Like, it's all these things. Like, that's the work that you're going to have to do. Like, I think people, because of the idea of like going viral and stuff like that, like people are so fixated on instant gratification, and like the things that last, the things that create sustainability, they're not going to be instant. Like, how many stories do we hear of like these like very wealthy, well-known creators, rappers, whoever, who like was doing this shit for 10 years before they even got a break, who was outside, like, wasn't like I think like Big Sean was like outside of the record label looking for Kanye with a CD in the rain. Like, it's always like some story like that. And granted, like, nobody says stand outside of the rain, but like, you're going to have to put the work in to get the things that you want.
Yeah. I've encountered so many people who don't want to do the work, and granted, we probably make it look easy, but I'm glad that you you're saying it. Like, this is a lot of fucking work.
Yes,
and it's a testament to why we're passionate to what we're doing, because we want to do this. We're not being made to do this. Like, I have a whole other job, and I do even this on the side because I'm passionate about bringing resources to people. Speaking of, you've been featured in a lot of, I don't want to say exhibits, or I guess, girl.
Yeah,
how, like, what's the term? What is the proper term?
Yeah, I've been in 3 exhibits.
So it's exhibits. Okay, let's talk about them.
Exhibits.
I know one of them is Fuji.
Yes,
which is
Fuji
you got your first camera. So did you like apply for that, or did you get recognized?
For when we did the show?
Yeah.
So it was a part of a camera launch. The series that I shot for that was called Trendsetters, and I shot it on the Fujifilm X-H2. And so they picked 10 they picked 10 women photographers, and we all did our own individual projects using, it was like 5 photographers, 5 directors, and we all did passion projects, using this camera to like kind of like notify the crowd and excite them. And it was also like the 10-year anniversary of their X series cameras, so like there was this whole big showcasing event showing off all the work and the new camera and all of that.
So I had a brain fart.
You were asking about the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one that
I was gonna say something to that though, because I think I saw you post a sneak peek and you feature, I believe it was a Jasmine, her mom or her aunt, somebody. It was black and white. It was like there was a black and white, but it was like by by Starlight. It was like the path.
Was it the documentary?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I know Jasmine was in it though.
Yeah,
I know
she's that was a documentary.
Okay.
That's a different project.
Oh, never mind. All right. Never mind.
Yeah, that was a different project. But no, that was still with Fujifilm. It was just a different project with them.
So
I think I've worked with
sponsoring you? Are they giving you like free stuff?
Well, this year I'm officially a community ambassador for Fujifilm. So if you see like me on their page, I'm officially an ambassador for them this year. But yeah, I don't know. I think they love me, and I'm grateful for as long as they love me. And even after like we stopped working together, like I'm super grateful. Like I feel like it was really full circle when I did the first project with them, because like I did so much research into what my first camera should be, because I have friends who use Nikon, I have friends who use Canon, I have friends who use Sony, and everybody's work was dope, but it was something about their camera that I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get this camera. And I saved my little coins and I bought the camera, and it was really up ever since. And I worked with them. I didn't work with them until a year after I bought that camera.
What is your creative process when you have an idea for something you want to shoot?
Well, I'm a visual person, so like I like to, depending on like the scale of the shoot, like so for Trendsetters, I created a whole 40-page like vision deck where I broke down the themes, the message I wanted the styling to be, who the models were. Like I did all of that. And then for this last project I did for the group exhibit that I was in for Black History Month, I had another 40-page deck with colors, pictures, styling, hair, makeup, themes, and stuff like that. So like if I'm doing a bigger project, like I need to break it down into like its own like visual piece to be able to communicate to the team that I'm working with what my vision is. If it's like something smaller or like touch and go, I just need a few reference photos, but I'm very much a vibe photographer. Like I don't plan out my shots before I go into a shoot. I just go in and vibe it out and see what I get. And I think that's why people tend to compliment me on my photos, because I've heard this way too many times, and I'm just like, okay, I will receive the compliment. People are like, you can capture people's essence.
Yes.
And like
as one of the people in that chair, yes, because I'm not photogenic. I hate taking pictures. I hate it. But I love your posture, because I'm like, I know she's gonna, even though I always tell you, like, I don't know how to take pictures, girl. Tell me what to do. And you're like, girl, just chill. I'm like, is this chilling? But you really know how to really bring that stuff out of people and get it on film. Like this, like honestly, I'm not even saying this because you're my friend. Like, it's really a gift. It's a gift. And I feel like I feel like, I don't know how to say this without sounding like Ayo. I feel like when it comes to your, like when I see your pictures and when I go on your page, like if I refer you to somebody and I go on your page and I look at the stuff you capture, it's like I can feel like your heart or your essence. Like I can feel that in your pictures, like literally. I look at other people's stuff and oh, this is good, but when I go to yours, I feel emotion behind it. And I don't know if you're capturing Black bodies, and I'm also passionate about Black bodies, but it's just, I can look at something and know, oh, Yolanda took that. Like you have a aesthetic when it comes to your stuff.
That's
and
my goal. I used to never
for me,
it was like that. I used to be like, you can't tell what, like, because there's some photographers where like you know that that's their work, and I wanted to like get to a point where like you know that's my stuff, but I don't know. I got rid of that like idea at some point because I was just like, you know what? Maybe I'm one of those photographers where like depending on what I'm shooting, the vibe is different. I don't know. The essence is the same, but the vibe is different.
I can look at something and be like, oh, Yolanda had that taking a picture. And then probably a few days later, I see on your page, I'm like, oh, I knew it. Because I'll look at something because I can feel I feel it. I don't know. I feel it. It's weird. As I started wanting to sound like Ayo, like someone watching like that just happened. But I'm like, I'm so serious. Like I put down everything. I look at, because when I go to your page, I get so inspired. And you take, like, I know certain people who only take good pictures of people who already look good. You know, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You make everybody look flattering, by also letting them be true to themselves. And me as a big girl, I appreciate that.
Listen, I used to tell people like when they like got in front of the camera because I typically don't shoot like people who identify as models, and so like I be shooting my homies and my friends and like people I just find interesting looking, and so
we models now.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time when they're in front of my camera, I'm just like, you know, be yourself and I'll do the rest. That's all I need is for somebody to be themselves. Like I don't need somebody to like, but if yourself is like, you know, if that's yourself, be that self. But like if your self is silly or goofy or, you know, like stern or whatever, be yourself and I can finesse the rest. Like that's one thing I will say that I do.
Child, the first time I took a picture with you and you said that I can finesse the rest, I doubted. I was like, girl, I don't look good at pictures, whatever. When those pictures came out, I was like, I'm still using those pictures. Every time someone, can we get a picture for the flyer? Okay, you go. Here you go. This is the essence of me. Very New York, very silly. I'm mid Millie Rock. This is me.
Right.
What is some of your goals this year? I feel like we're still in the New Year's March. Yeah. We're still there.
Well, my biggest goal for this year is to have a solo show. So some way, somehow, God, I need you to work it out because I want to do a solo exhibit. Because I've done 3 group exhibits so far, and I'm like, praise God, and I'm grateful, and they were amazing experiences. So I'm like, I want to do a solo show because I have like a couple project ideas that I would put together in its own like show because I love doing photo series. And so I want to do a solo show this year. I want to get a magazine cover this year.
Like you want one of your pictures to end up on a magazine?
Well, yeah, I'll take a spread inside a magazine, but I want a cover. And that's ambitious, but if we get inside,
no, it's not ambitious. You put it out there.
Yeah, like I want a cover. I want a cover, and then secondary to that, I want a spread. I definitely want to do more like editorial work this year. I want to get into directing this year.
I was gonna ask that next. I was gonna say, because you have such a good eye, do you think you will pivot back to getting into film again?
So I'm gonna do both. I'm never giving up photography. Like I really do love photography, but I also like I realize that like the way I think is like a director. And so I want to try my hand again because I was directing for theater when I was working in theater a little bit, but I want to like direct for film and like see how that goes.
I see that.
So that's something
I fucking see it.
Experiment and play with it this year.
I fucking see it. There's
Yes.
a friend of mine who does a lot of projects, and he has like a really successful show. I'm gonna send you his when we get off. I'm gonna send you his Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But you should definitely like go to one of his shoots and see if you could like just practice around with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely see that for you, and I'm about to force it on you like this week.
I have some things that I want to direct. I just haven't had time to fucking shoot them. I was doing so much in February. I had planned to shoot the first thing that I directed in February, but I was doing way too much in February. And so I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I was doing way too much.
How many pictures was it? It was like
70 photos, but that's just for that project. I also like produced content for the Griot in February. Like I produced 4 short videos for Black History Month, highlighting the oldest
it was like businesses.
Black-owned businesses. Yeah, the oldest like 50+ year Black-owned businesses in the metropolitan area.
Well, you posted them. Of course, I saw them. I follow you. But
yeah,
what was that like? Like, what does that feel like when people give you your flowers? I feel like you're not realizing how iconic you are.
You know what it is? I still am like, what Cardi B said? I'm still in the hood getting my bacon, egg, and cheese. Like, I'm still, because I think like for me, it's important for me to always remain humble because I'm a Libra. So like, if we let the balloon go, I'm to the upper room. And so I try to like keep myself grounded, like feet. I like to feel. I love Rihanna said in the interview. She was like, I like to feel my feet on the floor, because I think once you start getting too big for your britches, once you start like getting too egotistical, too cocky, too this, like that's when your environment around you begins to shift, and you start to attract energy you might not necessarily want. And so like I like to keep myself grounded because I can still like celebrate myself and be like, yeah, I did that, bitch. But also be like, but I still have room to grow and learn. Like I always am going to be a student of my craft, because that's how you stay fresh in this shit.
That's true. That's true. I was about to say something about that. Like even like me now, like my TikTok fucking grew from 200 to like 6,000 right now, and I try to make it my business to comment to comment everyone who's like commenting on my posts. I'm trying to like everything and respond. And my biggest fear is I don't want them to think I'm bougie and I'm following me. Like I'm really a nice girl. Let me respond to them. But that should be draining. I'm like, it's like bad comments coming in back to back. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get back to y'all when this dies down. But I agree with that. I think when you start, I think there's a balance to it. Like knowing who you are, but not, I guess,
with the hype.
Yeah. Or like staying true to yourself. Because I feel like you're staying true to yourself. If who you are is an egotistical bitch, I guess that's who you are. But if you were always a nice girl and then you get your plots and then you start moving different, that's just like, girl, you acting real Hollywood.
Yeah, because you know what it is? I think like at the end of the day, like the people that we look up to, the people who are like, you know, excelling in their industry and stuff like that, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. Some of us just have more money than others. And so
a lot more.
Exactly. And so I'm just like, you're still a human being to me. I'm still a fucking human being. And so I'm gonna always like
Beyonce, she's not human.
Superhuman, she's a goddess, okay? She's better than us all.
If she looks at me, I'm gonna faint. Like, oh, my soul.
I'm not worthy of
at all. Don't look at me in my face, Beyonce. I will look down. It's gonna be somebody watching us like, oh, I'm gonna like Beyonce like that. She is not all that. She is.
Never say that. She is.
She is.
She is. Respect that woman.
Who are you inspired by? I didn't really hear any inspiration.
Who am I inspired by? Different people, I think. Like, I feel like as far as photographers, like people that I know, like I'm really inspired by my homegirl Danny. Her photography is fucking fire, and I really like appreciate her because she was one of the first Black photographers who I like in my top 10 of people that I thought was fire. She was in my top 10, and she was the first person that I met in person. And when I met her, I was like, you cool as shit. She said, bitch, you cool as shit. And then we kind of like created a little sisterhood. And I was just like, that's dope because like I've gone through this industry so far and like interacted with people who were unkind to me or like just fucking weird. And I was just like, damn, That's what I didn't anticipate, the part where people are weird in this industry and they're not nice to you because like you're not popping or you're not on and you're not this. But
Oh,
yeah,
that
she was
shit,
kind of
that
crazy.
shit really hurts my ego when I encounter
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, now I feel like I because I'm just like, child, okay.
Like I remember before, like even before now, who I am now is not at my full potential, but I'm starting to see a lot of the seeds I planted, and I'm starting to see opportunities. But before then, when I would go to events and network and try to meet people who can help me, and just like, hey, my name is Gian, I have a podcast on this. I'm trying to work at this company, like. And the first thing they'll ask you is like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I work at the post office," or like before I was doing anything. Oh, okay. Like it's
Yeah,
already you get cut off, and that's why I'm like, that's why I think it's important that you said like not gatekeeping, because it's like we all have a superpower. It's just about tapping into
yeah,
that and really giving people just
yeah.
a shot, a damn, like just let me get my toe in the door. I'll do the rest. Just get me
Yeah.
in.
I'm also like a fan of like by any means necessary. So honestly, like if
Come on,
people
my
tell me
next.
no or yeah, like if people tell me no or curb my shit, I don't care no more because I'm like, listen, if it ain't happening through you, it's gonna happen through this. If it ain't happening on the left, it's gonna happen on the right. If it's not happening on the right, we going up. If we ain't going up, we going down to the corner, and then we're walking down the block. But I'm gonna get to where I'm going.
I'm getting in.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
getting
catch you next
in.
week when I get in too.
Yeah, like I'm not stressed about that. Like I do believe what's mine is mine, and so like I'm just enjoying the ride at this point. But I'm also like as far as like who I'm inspired by, like outside of like personal level or whatever. Like I really do appreciate like the Rihannas of the world, the J. Coles of the world, the Kendricks of the world, the Beyoncés of the world, like even like other photographer. Like I love like Gordon Parks a lot, and like just people who like were able to kind of like use their environment or take the basket that they were handed or that they were given and make a garden out of it. Like I appreciate people who kind of like built their career from the ground up through like
Mm-hmm.
hard work. It's like very
Yeah.
inspiring to me. And when I find people who come from like similar environments like me, that also is inspiration because I'm just like, yeah, niggas from the hood can.
It's true. It's true. I hate when I hear someone being inspirational and talk about how hard they work and why they're successful, and then when they start telling their story, I be like, "Boy, you ain't have no real struggle. This is handed to you. I mean, I ain't gonna knock it. Congratulations, but I need to see people who come from where I come from, who didn't have the opportunities and still made it, because that motivates you."
Yeah, because I feel like when you come from environments like the projects and like poor neighborhoods, or you just didn't grow up with like wealth and resources, or even if you had resources, you didn't have knowledge, like you were lacking something, right? Like this is something that you didn't wake up and somebody didn't give you a bunch of money to go start your dreams or some shit like that. I think like the misconception is that you have to be an exceptional Negro in order to get
Magical,
yeah, like you gotta be the one of 35, and it's just like
the
no. I think like
unicorn.
yeah, like I do believe that if you want something bad enough, and if you work hard enough for it, and if you stay consistent, like the thing that you want, you can get. Like I really don't believe in the idea of limitations. So, but I think that coming from these environments, it's like no, only a select few of you niggas can can make it out of here, and it's just like.
But also, our generation has really pivoted and started the creative platforms for ourselves. Like, I used to beg to want to be on someone's podcast or beg to get an opportunity. And I was like, I can just do this shit myself. I know some dope people who do this shit like how you did with yours. Like, I can make this shit myself. And if it
Yeah.
blows up, it blows up. If it don't, it don't. But at least I'm doing something I'm passionate about.
Right.
Like, the money will come. I tell people this all the time. The money will come. But if you're really passionate about it, you should be happy.
Yeah. Also, like I feel like I was at this event, this Snipes event this past week. And it was like a panel discussion from people who work in the music industry, and they were talking to like emerging like artists and rappers and stuff. And they asked the woman who is, I think she's the current VP at Rock Nation. They asked her like, what is like advice that you would give like people who are trying to get into the music industry, like artists who are like they feel like they're trying their best but like they're not but like money and this and that and that. And the woman said, she was like, you know, if you're doing this for money, then you're in the wrong industry and you're not going to make any progress. Like if your motivation is money, you're going to see less of that and make less progress. Like your motivation has to be that this is what you're passionate about. Like the money will come. And like, even like in the music industry, like it's not fast money. Like if you get signed, they're going to give you an advance. You got to pay that advance back. Like you don't start making money until you pay the money that they initially gave you.
They forget that too.
Yeah.
So they buy stuff that's so unnecessary. Like, whoa, you ain't make it yet.
So it's just like,
that's a loan.
Like money is just a byproduct of walking in your purpose. And so like I know for me, like I feel like me doing photography, me being a photographer is me walking in my purpose. The money will come, and that's just going to be a byproduct of me doing what I'm passionate about and what I care about.
I usually ask my guests to describe themselves in 3 words. I want you to describe your work in 3 words.
Do
I do 3 or 5? I do 3. Do I do
words?
3?
3 words.
Okay, you do 4. I'll give you an extra 4.
Authentic. Honest. I think my work is subtle. I would describe it as subtle.
Really?
Yeah, I would describe it as subtle. There's a softness, like I would say, like there's a softness to like how I capture Black people. Even though like I'm in a period where I want to like experiment and play of like the different things that I want to do, like I definitely think there's like a level of softness in my work, and vulnerability.
I was not expecting to hear that. I was not, but it makes sense. I like that. It makes sense. I like that, especially the vulnerability part when it comes to Black people, because when I see people who I guess they're subjects of Black people, we're always in the light of being strong and being like I'm gonna say what you said, like the unicorn, but not a unicorn in essence. But every Black person is just like persevering. And it's just like we're all not Martin Luther King. We are all not Angela Bassett. There are really some of us who are just normal people, and I think that's the problem with how people view our race. Like they feel like we don't feel pain. Oh, y'all got through slavery. Y'all can get through this. Like y'all get through everything. Y'all fine. Y'all don't have feelings. And it's just like, no, we do. Yeah. We get tired. We're sad. We cry. We feel passion. We feel pain. Like
I feel like people in general don't give each other like compassion and empathy and understanding that everyone is complex. Like we're not just one thing. And I think with Black people specifically, like Black people are always viewed in very narrow lights and perspectives. Like there's not a wide range of perspectives in relation to how other people view us. And so because like I, as a person who like grew up in the hood, right, like I also understand that there are Black people where that is not their experience, and that is fine. But I think that like we need all of the examples on the table to have a more well-rounded like view and perspective of like what our Black experience is. And I think because we're only painted in very specific lights, we're either this or that, there's a lot of like one or the other, and less like we are non-monolithic, like we're multiple things, we're this, that thing and the other thing. And I think that people don't realize that. And like at least with my work, like one thing that is a passion project of mine is like trying to find as many different examples of like the Black identity and the Black experience as I can, and like documenting that.
There's different angles and layers to us, and we are just as powerful with a fist up in a picture as we are just smiling in something that's, like you said, subtle. So what is some lasting advice you want to give to some? Well, this is Women's History Month, so we're only talking to Black women. Sorry, guys. But to any Black woman watching this and they're like, I'm a photographer, what should I know?
If you don't fuck with you, nobody else is gonna fuck with you. That's like, because that's the difference with me. I started to fuck with me, and I started to like give less of a fuck about whether anybody else fuck with me. And I swear to you, it changed everything for me. It really did. Because I was just like, I can't beat my own ass. Like, the world is going to try to beat my ass in some way or another.
You gotta give yourself grace.
Yeah, like, I can't also beat my ass and tell myself I'm trash and da-da-da. Like, if there are areas that I'm not, like, excellent in, like, I'm still alive. I still am like able-bodied. Like, I can grow. I have room to grow. As long as I want to grow, I have the capability of growing. And so I definitely think like you got to be your biggest fan. You got to be your biggest supporter. You got to fuck with you first. And just like try everything. Like try a bunch of shit and see what you like and see what you don't like, and like feel your own self out. Like as an artist, like I think for me, like I decided very early just in my creative journey outside of photography what I wanted to do. Like I was like, I am passionate about telling Black stories, and I was just like, whatever I do as a creative has to be rooted in the idea of telling Black stories, and that's what I'm sticking with. Like that's where my passion is. And so I think like finding the thing that brings sparks like joy in your heart and puts that fire under your ass, like finding that thing, whether it's food photography, whether it's landscape, whether it's editorial, like events, find a thing that you fucking love and just do it and do it again.
Are there any methods outside of just practicing, I guess, for photographers to build their skills? Like aside from reading or like
Yeah. I think YouTube University. I watch a lot of videos. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I also like ask friends who have more knowledge than me. I'm always calling my homie Leaf up, like, Leaf, I got a question about lighting and how do you do this? And I'm trying to achieve this effect. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm always asking questions because, like, I think, like, as long as you're, like, open to learning and you're not too good to know that you don't know everything. Because I'm the first one to say, listen, I don't know everything and I don't pretend to know everything. And I don't feel insecure about knowing everything. Like, one, I'm self-taught. Two, I've been doing this for 3 years. Like,
you made a lot of progress for 3 years, though. Like, that's the crazy.
Yeah.
I thought you was doing this for longer. Every time you say 3 years, I'm like, 3 years is 2020, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
Mm-hmm. I started this journey 3 years ago.
But look at where you are now. Like, that's a testament to, like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yes, that's God.
And that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Like I said, I am super duper proud of you. You're growing.
I'm proud of you too, G.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm trying, man. I hate when people tell me they're proud of me, though.
Receive it.
The same shit I would give you hell about, I do the same shit to myself.
Receive it.
I'm like, proud of what? My studio?
You say, thank you. I'm proud of myself as well. Thank you. Me as well.
I'm proud of me as well.
Exactly. Period.
Well, thank you so much, Yolanda. For those of you tuning in, this will be going up on YouTube. You can find Yolanda at Ghetto Yoli. First of all, where did the name come from, Ghetto Yoli? I know Yoli's your nickname, but where did the ghetto? Because that would have been my first question. Actually.
Oh, where the ghetto?
The ghetto, like the emphasis on ghetto, because I feel like it has such a negative connotation. But Black people, we can say that.
That's exactly where it came from. I think like because like I grew up in the projects, I grew up in a place that's like considered like ghetto in a negative way. I am tired of people taking things that are inherently associated with Black people and making them negative things. Because when you take these things out of the context, or like what we consider ghetto, like the long nails, the baby hairs, the hoop earrings, the this, the that, the clothes, like the environment, like when you take Black people out of that context, people don't find it ghetto. They don't find it to be a negative thing, you know? And so I used to like, I think one day I just decided, I was just like, I'm going to normalize the term ghetto and like kind of redefine what that means. Like, I'm going to make these like major brands and magazines, like when they post my work, tag Ghetto Yoli. And like, I'm going to like, you're going to get comfortable saying ghetto and not thinking it's a negative thing, okay? Because the fucking culture, it's an essence, it's a way of being, and most importantly, it's fucking community, okay? And I ride for my Blacks, and I ride for the ghetto.
Period.
I'm very ghetto. very, very ghetto. And I think like it's just me like kind of taking back the name. And I'm never like changing my name. I'm never changing like the way I refer. Like, you're gonna say ghetto. You're gonna think ghetto, and you're gonna see this fire ass person. You're gonna think ghetto, you're gonna see this fire ass work. You're gonna think ghetto, and you're gonna think excellence and culture.
It's like the
and
N-word. We
vibe
can
and
say that. We
flavor.
know what we're trying to say. You can't, because you don't come from that environment. You don't know what goes into this. And most of the things that I consider ghetto that Black people done were like ways of survival.
Yeah, and I think it's just like you're associating people's circumstances with who they are. And I think that's like, because like when you grow up in these environments, like you can't control the circumstance and the situation that you're in, and you're likely doing things based on the environment and the circumstances that you're in. Like, people don't want to be poor. People don't want to do things out of survival, but they're put in a situation where they don't have many options and they need to do what they need to do to survive. And so like, I'm empathetic for people like that, because it's like, nobody asks to grow up in the projects, okay? Nobody's like waking up and like, oh my God, you know where I want to live? In the projects. Nobody's like doing that,
Right.
okay? So it's like, but because of capitalism, because of the society we live in, like sometimes that is your only option, to live in this project, to do affordable housing, to do like all these things. And you have to like kind of survive and navigate your circumstance. And that doesn't mean that like who you are as a person is bad. Like, I came from the projects, I came from the ghetto, and I'm motherfucking phenomenal. And I know a lot of people who came from these environments who are also motherfucking phenomenal. Yeah, so I go hard for that.
Like, and we gotta put on for the people who probably weren't able to shift the mindset and get out of these situations.
Exactly, because some people are still there, and they, I feel my heart goes out to like the people who are in these environments who don't see a way out, or who have become complacent with the environment. Like my heart goes out to it. Like, I was someone who always like believed that like the 10-block radius of my neighborhood was not all God had for me. Like, I believed that like early, and my mom believed that early. And like from young, I was like, I'm bigger than this. I love this, and I think this is beautiful, but I have so much more to do. Yeah.
Well, on behalf of Black people everywhere, it's like an award. On behalf of, but no, seriously, on behalf of Black people, and someone could comment on this and say, I don't agree, but I doubt you will, so you disagree. I truly thank you for your art. I thank you for showcasing Black people in a beautiful light, for making us look flattering, making us look like all the things, all the different layers of us, and just being committed and passionate about your work and documenting the process. I think I really love the fact that you don't share just your highs. You talk about your lows. You, even if it's just in your close friends, but you document everything. And I appreciate that, and that helps me. That motivates me, honestly, and that inspires me as a person, because I have to see people who are in my circle who are creative going through the motions as well, so I know that I'm not alone. Because if I see everybody freaking having good news and I don't, I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. Everyone's progressing. What's happening? But to know that we are all in this together is a beautiful thing. So I thank you for that. And I thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
And tell the people where to find you and what you got coming up next.
Okay, well, you can find me at Ghetto Yoli on Instagram. That's GHETTOYOLIE. And I have some fire shoots coming up next. Like, I'm doing some weird shit in studio with my homegirl. This weekend, I got another project that I can't say nothing about until it comes out, that I'm doing this weekend. But yeah, I'm excited.
If people want to book you, should they DM you? Should they email you?
My email is on my Instagram page. You can send me an email. I do not do business in my DMs unless I know you personally.
Period. I said that and someone still did it. And it wasn't someone I knew. Because I put that in my regular, not my close friends. I was like, I don't conduct business in my DMs. This person responded to it and said, what if I wanted to book you to host something? My email is right there.
Yeah, email me. Yeah.
But thank you so much, and we're gonna connect. We need to go out again. I think the last time we went out, we went to Old Day to Babel. That was
did.
No, I think
we gotta go out.
3. That was the same night.
No, wasn't we at like an R&B party?
Oh, that's the last time I saw you on RBK.
Yeah,
that's RBK tomorrow night too. But thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, and We locked in, girl.
Okay, bad. Thank you, boo.
Bye.
Bye.